Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Purpose to Love. My name is Randy, and today we're going to talk about battling burnout. Burnout is something I feel like I've noticed, throughout the field of special needs and human services. One way or another, someone has experienced it. I know I have. And I want to just have a discussion and conversation about how we can, battle burnout. Burnout, really, to me, I believe it means you're just exhausted, not even just tired. You're beyond tired. You're beyond anything. You just feel like you're over it. You're over everything. You don't want to do anything anymore, and you feel like you have nothing else to give. And if you have any little bit left inside of you, you're like, I'm not gonna give this little piece of me left. You're just done. You're just exhausted. So that is my kind of definition of burnout. But some ways we get to burnout, there's probably a long list, but I just have a few. And maybe me listing some of these few ways of how we get to burnout, you might be able to provide some suggestions or thoughts into that. But one is, this is really basic, but the job is hard. Being someone who works with someone with special needs is challenging. And being in the field itself is challenging. Being a parent to someone who has special needs is challenging, and working around everything that surrounds your child is challenging. It's just hard, I think what keeps us all going is really those moments we have, and there's so many moments that we have with the student or the individual where they're just amazing. They're amazing people, and that's why we keep coming back, because we love them, but it's still hard. So, just recognizing that the job is hard, we know, okay. But also, sometimes there's just not enough support. Sometimes you feel like maybe you're a teacher or you're a direct care worker or your admin or whoever you are, a parent, you feel like you're not getting enough support. You're feeling the weight of it all in yourself. You feel like you're doing it all on your own. You just don't feel like you have enough support. So trying to find ways to pull, different resources obviously would be helpful. But sometimes you feel like you're just doing it all on your own, and that can be a real heavy weight to bear. So that's one. The other one is your life. Sometimes you, as a human being living in this world, you have your own life issues. You're dealing with your own relationship issues, your own work issues, your own health issues. You're dealing with your own things, and it's hard, and then you have to then pour out into someone else, and you have to do all these different, wear all these different hats within your job and your role, whatever you're doing. And it's overwhelming, it's hard, So sometimes you have your own life issues. And sometimes, unfortunately within the field, someone being I used to be a TA and a direct care worker, teacher, and in some of these positions where you're not making as much income, you're having to work 2 or 3 jobs. And I'm sure other people in other positions as well. But when you are not being compensated in a way that matches what you're doing and what you're giving out, you're having to work another job or 2 other jobs, and then having to come in the next day and then give all of yourself again. It's a hard thing to do. So sometimes it's just life stuff. So those are just some of the things that I feel like bring us into burnout. Now, how do we battle burnout? I believe that we can be proactive with burnout. If it takes some time to think about and process, and since a lot of us are home right now, we have the time to think about and prepare ourselves so we don't, we can plan ahead so we don't get burnt out. But one way I was thinking, and sometimes you might know this and this is a reminder, but just reassessing yourself, reassessing your goals, reassessing your needs, reassessing your passion. Do you want to do this anymore? Is this something that you are still interested in? Maybe this particular role within this field is not what you want to do anymore. You want to move on to something else. I think taking the time to reassess is going to be really critical in figuring out what you want to do to prevent burnout. Because then you don't feel stuck, because there's that feeling of feeling like you're stuck and you can't move. And that for me gives me like anxiety almost, like when I feel like I'm stuck or backed into a corner because I feel like there's nothing else I can do. It makes me feel overwhelmed. So reassessing what you need, your goals and your passion. The other thing is communicating, talking to someone, sharing how you feel. I know we in the field spend so much time checking in with our students and our individuals with your child. How do you feel? How are you feeling today? What's going on? We're checking in so much with them that we forget to express that to someone else for ourselves. And if you don't have someone in your life, your friends, your family, that you can talk to, there are therapists out there who are able to communicate and help you work things out, or just to listen. Sometimes you need someone else outside of your life to just hear you for a little bit. Maybe if you practice any faith, then you can speak to whoever is in that role to listen to you and just share with them what you're going through, to help give you some more direction or more clarity, But I think communication is definitely key. And then take a break. You have PTO, use that PTO. If you have vacation, use vacation. If you need to just take a mental health day, take that day. Sometimes I know as a teacher, sometimes you think to yourself, you're like, I want to take that day off. You're like, I just need a day off. I need to take a break. And then sometimes you think to yourself, it's going to be more work to, plan for whoever's going to be covering my class. It's more work to plan for that than to actually just be there. So I'm just going to go in anyways. No, it's okay. One day of you being there, or 2 days of you not being there, it's going to be okay. What you planned is probably not going to go the way you want it anyway. So plan if you want, don't plan. I mean, obviously you should plan if you can. But, I think that sometimes your well-being is more important. Your mental health, how you're able to process things and get through things is so much more important than trying to make sure everything is going perfectly. And they'll work it out. They'll be fine. Sometimes you think to yourself, I know I would think to myself, but they need me. Yes, they need you, but they need you well. If you're not well, then you're not helpful. So take a break. Pace yourself. I think pacing yourself is another one. If you're like me and you're a busybody and you want to be in everything, you're like, yes, I'll do that. And before you know it, you have so much on your plate. And I am that kind of person. My eyes sometimes are bigger than my stomach, and I take on way too much. And so sometimes I have to step back and say, okay, let me reprioritize, and I need to slow down. Maybe I might have to take some things off of my plate, and I have to say no a few times to people, and just focus on, that one or two projects that I'm working on, and really give quality into that instead of just doing all these different things. I mean, I'm not doing it out of just, doing it, but I care, and I want to see things get better. I want to be a part of change. And so of course, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. But sometimes it's not appropriate. It's not for me to do. So pace yourself. And then check in with each other. Check in with your teacher friends, check in with your therapists, your OTs and your PTs, and see how they're doing. And check in with admin check in with your staff, parents check in with your caregivers and your teachers, and vice versa. We got to check on each other. That's a pretty given, right? We got to check on each other, ask each other how you are doing. how are you today? What's going on? Let's get into each other's lives a little bit. Obviously, if someone doesn't want to talk about it, then you're not going to push them. But I think even the gesture of just asking how are you, is important. I know so many times I've had really wonderful people I've worked with, and they're just so kind and just always checking on me and making sure I'm good. And I hope that I was able to do the same thing with them and just spend time and listening and sharing and just being there. Sometimes just having a listening ear, is important. So check in with each other and follow through. If you're asking me, oh, how are you? Can I help you with something? And I say, yeah, follow through. Make sure that you can do, if you can do it, follow through. If you can't, then you make sure you let them know. Don't leave them hanging. But, we got to check on each other and be there for each other and support each other. So those are just some, I think, proactive ways of battling burnout. So I know there's more, I know we can do more. I know there are other areas that cause burnout. So leave a comment, tell me, share with us, what those things are, and let's have discussion on how we can make it better and how we can, battle burnout. So leave comments, share, hit the subscribe button, and just remember you're awesome and that you're purpose to love. All right. Thanks. Bye.